Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to what's going to be the first breakdown of the all-time teams here in the Adult Baseball League. Clearly, I'm going to go ahead and start with my SoCal Republic because I kind of know them better than most. I was able to quickly jot down some stats, some news, some notes about each player at every position, excluding DH, of course, because, you know, maybe we'll go honorable mention, but we're not going to get into the stats for every DH because lots of guys moves around. So if you didn't play a position, you're not going to get noted one to wait. However, I will honorably mention some of those guys. We're going to go ahead and start it out first with the SoCal Republic at catcher, which would be Drake Ramsey, who I'm choosing for myself. He's only played 3 years, likely MVP this year, has already surpassed all of my previous catchers in the history of my franchise. Drake, obviously, who was renamed to match the brother of one of my favorite forward players, the 5th round guy I got, Lou Ramsey. You hear him coming up later. Places Lucio Nahara as well as Julio Segura, Segura was an interesting one because I actually signed him late on. I signed Segura in free agency when no one wanted him. He actually had a really good 3-year career arc in his mid to late 30s, which was awesome. Ramsey looks to be in staple SoCal going forward. However, I kind of did float his name out there for trade deadline talks because I was looking for other pieces going forward, just kind of diversifying a little bit. It's not a ridiculous contract, but either way, Drake Ramsey would definitely be the catcher for myself. Well, for SoCal's, best catcher ever historically, at least in terms of statistics and WAR and advanced metrics that I was able to kind of pull off quickly and look through. 3 years in, and he's already hit all those thresh marks. He's just plateauing at a crazy rate. First base would be his brother, Lou Ramsey. He has 7 titles, multiple All-Stars, Silver Sluggers, Gold Gloves. He's a supremely talented player who was, by part overlooked because I had Bergeron in the early parts of the year, then I had Kim and Pittman and all those guys, and he just got overlooked. He owns many of my historical records, and Lou Ramsey, second in games played, just a great player for my franchise. Was absolutely great, 300, 400, just crazy on base, average historically, very consistent, first base, second place, played a little bit at second, shortstop, and third base. Could have at least, but he really stayed between first and second base. I could go on listing all his stats, but I plan to do it in more depth for a few guys. But I have 4 guys who I view as no doubters, and that would be Lou Ramsey and 3 guys who will be coming up shortly, all of which you should know the name for. Second base was my most difficult one, was John Cooter Brooks. He was drafted early in the league position by Minnesota. He was traded for a boatload of prospects after Minnesota was going nowhere, and he was on a huge arbitration deal to SoCal. Brooks was sent over to try to solidify SoCal before I got really good. Didn't really work out the way I thought. He took a couple injuries. He was actually often injured, and he declined quite a bit. However, he was still good enough based on his initial ratings to perform at a high level. When I looked, they were good, not great. He had 283, 4,500 while in SoCal. Had a big power stroke to him, actually. He chipped in 160 homers and about 500 RBIs, if you like the RBI stat. He struck out 2 times, guys, over 999, so 1,001 in total. His team leadership and versatility, though, is a big reason why I obtained Joe Brooks going forward. He played first, second, short, third. He was a big reason why SoCal went in the direction I did. Kind of punting defense, not playing bad defenders, but playing guys who aren't supremely highly rated defenders, because I found out early on that I didn't need to do that. I didn't find it beneficial to my franchise to punt offense for defense, especially early on when I had very little offense. It was really Brooks trying to back up Bergeron in the lineup. There was a little bit of Yanez still there, a little bit of Sweet in there, but they're a rich Sweet. But there wasn't really a lot of offense, so I kind of went in that direction, punting elite defense for a player who could play everywhere, a very versatile defender. And as you can see in my roster, I think everyone on my roster, sans maybe my first baseman, almost in Villa, play 2 to 3 positions, if not more. That's really a big thing I emphasize, and Brooks was basically one that ushered that in. Next up, shortstop Dane Regan, another no-doubter. Regan won Gold Gloves, made the All-Star time 8 times, while posting a slash historically of 300, 400, 500. He spent half his time in SoCal, half his time in Mile High. Mile High got the earlier years. It's interesting, though, because I did notice after he retired, he donned a Mile High hat, which is totally, obviously, unacceptable, considering he won all the titles in SoCal. Come on. But either way, Ron, I think from when this was a year and a half ago when I was looking through these guys, and I couldn't figure out why some guys were wearing hats on the other. I did notice that Dane Regan put up a 0.2 WAR higher in Mile High over his 6 years that he did in SoCal, and I'm wondering, and I'm probably going to lean in the direction of that's why he donned the hat, because games played didn't go in that direction. So I'm guessing WAR is what the game uses to determine where he had a better career at, and if that's a game, and if the video game likes that stat so heavily, and that's what they use to analyze a lot of their players, I'm not surprised that it chose to go ahead and put him with a Mile High hat. Either way, it doesn't matter. He won multiple titles for me. All-Stars. I mean, him and Kim were, Kim, and spoiler alert, Pittman, my 1, 2, 3, I would still put up there against any 1, 2, 3 in the history of the game when they were on and they were in their primes. It was just insane. It was really like KC levels early on. Third base, no laughing matter. Jonman Kim Jr. For my money, he's the best bat in the history of the ABL. He has all the awards to put that in his column, I guess, but Ollie North would probably have a say in that. Cam, just ridiculous year after ridiculous year. My staple, as you guys all know, I tell the story. He only got called up because Joe Carter had a huge career-ending injury. Yes, the 5-star Carter that I got in the 4th round was supposed to be a supremely talented player for me going forward. Was signed like a 10-year deal. Was going to make absolutely nothing. Going to be a superstar for years. Kim was going to spend another year or two down in the minor leagues. And then the rest was history. Kim came up and I started winning titles. He really took a big boost once he came up, and it is what it is. I'll take it. I think I tracked back. Kim was like 285 pounds his rookie year, and going through the almanacs, he's at like 270 now. He's gained 80 pounds. He's 32, so it's kind of funny. He started in SoCal for 12 plus years now. He's a 7-time MVP. Has a Silver Slugger for all but 1 year he's with the pros. He's been elected to the ABL All-Star Game each year via the online voting. For some reason, he wasn't in the All-Star game in-game, but when I went back and looked, he definitely, with his voting total, should have been in. So I don't know what happened there. No big deal, though. It doesn't really matter. He has multiple gold gloves and is closing on 500 stolen bases and 500 home runs, which is also very cool within a year's time. So, that's super cool, too. But despite all that stats, I'm going to say it because I like to say it, Kim Jr. is even better in October when the games really count. Kim Jr.'s statistics in the playoffs are just against better competition as well, which is what makes it even more impressive to me. It's just, 180 games and he's hit like 60 home runs, or like 180 over. It's just crazy. So Kim, obviously a staple of my franchise. Next up, John Pittman, the last no-doubter of my group. He's only 30 now and he already has 2,000 hits and is the only 4-time hitter with the batting titles. Force it my butt, Mr. Cato. Unbelievable. Pittman, like Kim, has 7 World Series titles, has led the league in stolen bases many times, has more All-Star appearances than he has fingers on his right hand, and has never hit below 310 while starting. He hit 297, I think, in like 6 games, but I don't really count that. He didn't really hit 6 games. His career, but it's actually funny because he came up that year at the end of the season because of all my injuries. And he actually ended up playing. We didn't win the World Series that year, I don't believe. I think that was the first year we lost to Eureka, or the second year we lost to Eureka. But he only came up because we had injuries, and I literally was without outfielders. So he went from AA to the ABL playoffs, and he actually did pretty well, surprisingly. His career average is just ridiculous at 343 in SoCal. At 372 on base for his career is even more ridiculous, considering he only walked 240 times in his entire career, though he doesn't strike out either. I think his strikeouts are probably low 300s, maybe high 290s. I don't know. Probably around there. I have to look on that one. He has 600 stolen bases and is easily the best 24th overall pick that the league passed on in history. And I like throwing that in there because I got him in the first round. Because he played no defense though. So, he's always been a 40 defender. He's only like a 38 now, I think I saw lastly. But, pass on. There's always, more so early on than now, there was a lot of tons of elite hitters that were getting overlooked because they played no defense. And I'm not sure if people weren't grabbing them because they didn't know how their defense rated out, or if that wasn't their style and mindset. I had no problem taking them, putting them in minor league and seeing what he did. He hit 400, 500, 600 in A, 400, 500, 600 in AA, and then he got called up. So Pittman's been nothing short of amazing for me. I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to draft him, and very fortunate that he turned out the way he did. I just try to make sure to sink as much money as I can into scouting and player development, because I think those are huge. I'll release players to keep my player development up. But anyways, shortstop, the center field is Shady Ben Mafid. SoCal obviously moved Franco, yes, that Franco in Bloomington, the superstar, to obtain Ben Mafid, and it's worked out like a shine for both teams. This would be an understatement. Mafid has never been asked to be a superstar player, given who he's played around, but he's been a model of consistency for us. He's played 120 games. He played 120 games out of SoCal, I believe it says here, where he put up a 0.04 WAR, but has played over 1,100 games for me in SoCal while posting a 24 WAR, where he's hit over 300 with over 400 on base while stealing 350 stolen bases and scoring 110 runs. So needless to say, Mafid's had big stats. Mafid has been criminally injured for his career as well. Just criminally, not long injuries, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks. Just consistently missing good portions of the season, but he still managed to put up 24 WAR, despite being injured for a good part of his career off and on. Right field, lastly, but certainly not least, is Gerd Glorious Zabel. It's crazy to me to think that Zabel at only 25 has been playing for 6 years like Pittman. At his age, Zabel is closing in on 200 home runs already and hasn't even reached his physical prime yet. He's a career 300, 350, 540 hitter. Zabel owns All-Star appearances, big-time playoff series MVPs, and 3 championships. The glorious one himself, glorious Gerd Zabel, has played so well, in fact, that he usurped Swami Contreras. And for those of you guys who weren't around early on, Contreras was a huge guy, a huge name in the 2012 expansion draft. Not expansion draft, in the 2012 first-year player draft, but for whatever reason, I forget the team. I apologize. I want to say it's Carolina or Manhattan. No, Manhattan. and I think it was Carolina who took him and wasn't able to sign him. So I got him in the second round of the year prior to huge demand. And this was before SoCal was good. I got him some of the minors. He was 22, 23 at the time, so he came in late, and he performed really well at Swami Gutierrez. But even then, he's been usurped by Gerzabel in just 6 seasons. Though to be fair, right field has been a position of rotation and been a position where I've just shoved guys who couldn't play defense but could hit. SoCal has historically, just rotated guys. So if we're going to play defense at an elite level, we want guys who can rotate. So those are, my top 1 through 8 positions. I'll go to my pitchers real quick, and I'm not going to nearly go into as much detail as I did my starters. My starters, it took me 3 seconds. I've been very fortunate to have good pitchers with good health, historically for the most part, despite Cohen's 2 Tommy John injuries, where he couldn't add stats, fluff out his stats, even though he's a Hall of Famer in the prime of his career. Obviously, I'll go in order in terms of eras. I have Anthony Atkinson, 270 wins, 350 FIP, 69 6 FIP minus. Cohen Burlett, 185 wins, 383 FIP, 77 FIP minus. Jose Gallegos, 200 wins, 370 FIP, 74 FIP minus. Masafumi Tamura, 170 wins, 343 FIP, 75 FIP minus. And of course, Tanner, 209, 206 FIP, 46 FIP minus. And my bullpen arms are clearly the 3 stalwarts of 3 of the better pitchers historically in the league in terms of bullpen. Jack English, Nelson Taylor, who gets overlooked because of Taylor, and Pinzian Ooh. So yeah, that was SoCal's 1 through 8, and then 1 through 5 and 1 through 3 for our lineups, our pitching, and bullpens. I said I was going to mention it. I want to mention Alfredo Yanez, who was Batman to Jeffrey Hensley's Robin early on in my early years. So I would go Yanez, Zeus Mayhem, who's just a monster for me now. Obviously, honorable mention at DH. He's not going to rank on a positional chart because, he plays left field, right field, and DHs. He's never going to rank on that list. And then, obviously, Iron Mike Bergeron, the Hall of Famer, who obviously was in the same boat, left field, right field, center field, very rarely, but left field, right field, DH, so he didn't rank on this list. I try to keep guys who played the field a little bit more often. But either way, this was SoCal's 1 through 8, or I don't know what I'm going to call it. This was SoCal's franchise, historic, all-team leaders, or whatever. Thanks for watching. I will be trying to do 1 of these, or 2 of these, when I have 10 to 15 minutes on the regular, as well as continue to do T-minus and providing content for you, the ABL universe. Thanks for watching, everyone, and you guys have a glorious rest of your day.